Your Indiana Pacers won their playoff game tonight, and they are moving on to play on Thursday night. The Indiana Pacers just pounded Charlotte tonight, so they'll be playing the loser of tonight's Boston-Washington game, which is still ongoing. That game will be Thursday night, so congratulations, the Pacers winning the play-in game tonight. We'll talk a little bit about the 80s coming back to Central Indiana. Who's ready for some heat here in Central Indiana? You've got it coming up with Angela. We'll talk to her in a moment. Also, we're going to be talking to some of the IndyCar drivers, learning, among other things, what kind of music they enjoy listening to as they gear up for race day. And also, we're going to hear another great Elio Castroneves impression tonight by one of the drivers. And we're going to hear who the IndyCar drivers would like to be if they could be a top athlete in another sport. Dave Calabro with another fabulous edition of Milk and Cookies. That's coming up tonight. And a look ahead at one of our stories that we'll see tonight on 13 News at 11. Alan Carter, friend of the show, he will be joining us tonight. He interviewed a woman tonight who was involved in a serious accident 5 years ago. This woman could have died 5 years ago. Alan talked to her. A remarkable comeback story that you're going to see coming up on the big show at 11 o'clock. But let's begin tonight with the woman who continues to pound me into the ground with her walking every day. We talk about the steps every day. How many steps do you have right now?
Let's see. I am at 12,782.
I can't catch you. I think I was at 6,500 this afternoon. During my dinner hour, I got outside, did a little bit more walking. I'm up to 11,500, but I can't catch you.
You could walk around the newsroom a few times between now and 11, because I'm not doing anything but sitting back here. So, but I did walk. I walked 3.5 miles without Chewy and a half mile with Chewy today.
Good for you.
That's where I got most of mine.
Good for you. Well, every day you inspire me to get out there and get more steps. Janae and I got a good walk in this morning, and again got some during my dinner hour here in the parking lot.
Did you get sprinkled on this morning?
Not really.
No?
It looked threatening. There were lots of clouds out there, but no, we got out and did our walk before the rain. And
very good.
Are we expecting any more rain tomorrow?
You know, there will be this, I think, thin line of rain that holds together. It's been interesting to watch the radar over the last couple of days.
Yeah.
We've had a big blocking area of high pressure that's been sitting across the eastern third of the country. So it's looked ominous out to our west. They've been dealing with severe weather across parts of Louisiana and Texas. I'm sure you've seen some of the video of the flooding that they've been dealing with across parts of southeast Texas near Lake Charles. But not much of that is holding together to get here. We had our heaviest rain Sunday night into yesterday, amounted to 1 to 3 inches for most of us. Thought we'd get a little more today. Far western part of the state had some, but really the axis for the heavy rain has been out to our west. And then once this little weather system kind of shifts east, what's going to take over is the heat, and that's beginning to build as early as tomorrow. So Future Track 13, Scott asked about any rain chances tomorrow. If you're walking or doing anything early in the day, like today for me, I did get sprinkled on, so I took my raincoat on my walk because I knew there were a few sprinkles out there. A stray shower or two between 8 a.m. and say late morning. But once we get past midday, the heat is really going to start to take over. And we can see that with Future Track 13. That ends midday. We start to clear things out and the heat builds. We're going to be close to 80 tomorrow. And if we get there, we've got the next 7 days at least in the 80s.
So it's going to really feel like summer around here, isn't it?
It is. We're going to go from what we had 48 on Mother's Day just a week or so ago to 80s. We've had one 80-degree day so far this spring, and that was back on April 27th.
I was sort of hoping we'd see a string of like 72 to 75-degree days before we get into the heat of the summer. But look, I'll take the heat of the summer anytime over snow and
-5.
And -5, yeah. Not interested in that at all. All right, Angela, we'll get back with you coming up in a moment and talk about the weather as we get closer to qualification weekend, which is happening this weekend out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. All right, let's bring in friend of the show, Alan Carter, to talk about a story that I'm very interested in listening to tonight. Alan, tell our viewers about who you interviewed tonight.
Yeah, her name is Ashley McFerrin, and 5 years ago, we were actually on the scene of what was a fatal accident, of a car crash, a single car accident that claimed the life of the driver in that car. Ashley was in the passenger seat, And according to doctors, when they say that her injuries coming into the hospital, a slim to none chance of surviving. Actually, her heart stopped in the operating room. In those situations, doctors actually had to massage the heart, and they say normally that's about a 99.5% chance that someone will pass away in those situations. 5 years later, she is going strong. She is building her life back up, recovered remarkably. She still has a little bit more mountains to climb, but she can really tell her story a little bit better than I can. And I want you to take a listen to some of what she had to say. We'll play the full interview tonight at 11.
It was just a first date with a guy, and I don't remember going to work that day. I don't remember meeting him. I don't remember the date. I don't remember anything. I woke up 3 weeks later, and the first thing that I remember waking up to is ceiling tiles and the clock, and I could not tell time. It was when I talked to other nurses about the story that they were all just blown away about everything.
Patients who sustain the severity of injury that Ashley commonly don't survive the injuries. Probably when we look at the type of procedures that needed to be performed to keep her alive is really the kind of the transcendent moment that tells us the ability of a patient to survive these type of injuries.
Wow.
And that doctor there, you could really, he actually is the person that saved her life. And when he talks about it, he gets a little bit choked up. And was really an emotional situation for him because he got a chance to see her today after that long road of recovery that she endured to get back on her feet.
Wow, what an amazing comeback for her. We are really looking forward to watching your story coming up tonight in about 45 minutes over on Channel 13. Alan, thanks for sharing a portion of that interview. We'll look forward to seeing the full story tonight coming up at 11.
You bet.
All right, there's friend of the show, Alan Carter, joining us tonight, giving us a sneak peek of one of the stories that you're going to be seeing coming up on 13 News at 11. Let's bring back Angela. How about that story for surviving that kind of accident 5 years ago?
5 years ago, and
Wow.
yeah, I'm interested in seeing the entire story. So
Right.
Thanks, Alan, for bringing us that and
Yeah.
the whole story at 11.
So tonight, what are the things I love about the Dave Calabro milk and cookie stories that he brings us from the track? We learn so much about these IndyCar drivers. You know, Dave, he's covered the track forever. He knows these guys personally, and he really does a great job getting to know their personalities. And tonight he comes up with some really good questions and finds out some very interesting things about the IndyCar drivers that you're going to see during the Indianapolis 500. Watch this.
Look, this is a serious conversation. We have cookies and milk here, okay?
I know, right?
You know it's Indy 500 time.
I'm on a diet, so I can't have it.
You probably ate 6 of these already and replaced them, is my guess.
You're probably right. Don't eat the props.
Got it.
If you could be a top athlete in any other sport, who would you be and why?
Oh man, I was very unprepared for that. I've kind of got into football, American football.
Man, you're in Indiana. Are you sure you want that to be your final answer?
He's the best. It's not popular, especially in Indy.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Fan. Like to be the quarterback.
You're going to be top. Colts fans don't want to hear that.
Belichick must have just been like he must be just kicking himself. It just ruined his whole career. It's just like clearly it was had nothing to do with the coach.
As much as the Indy crowd may not like it, I guess you'd have to say
You're like the fourth or fifth guy. Is there food that you binged on this past year?
I became an omelet making expert. Ooh. I have really got into the omelet game. Omelet time. Very excited to cut up some different vegetables, slice some things up, try some hot sauces. For Christmas, my mother got me 12 different hot sauces to try. It's been very exciting.
Guess what? Me too. I'm
that.
Totally into that. Give us your best Elio Castroneves impersonation.
Hey, Dave, I gotta tell you something, man. I'm just so happy to be back here. I mean, thank you so much, Mr. Pesky, for 20 years. It's so nice now to be driving with Mr. Mike Sake. I tell you guys something, this is just incredible.
Do you have pump-up music you listen to before the Indy 500? Do you have a playlist or something?
I sleep. I take a nap. That's my pre-race. Yeah, that's my pre-race ritual is try and, listen to some whales singing or some water stuff in headphones and go to sleep.
You're that calm.
Try to be. Try to be. You got to get through that first corner, man. You don't want to end your day too early. I don't want to be all jacked up and put it right in the fence.
These guys are driving well over 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
The idea that Scott Dixon, who's won the race once, could sit there and fall asleep by listening to whale sounds is pretty funny.
Yeah, no whale sounds. I think for me, I would have probably AC/DC or something like really loud.
Oh, yeah.
You know, really get you going.
Right. And James Hinchcliffe doing a very nice Elio Castroneves impression. And the Connor Daly, the omelet thing, that's great. I'd love to have breakfast with Connor. But Connor, you got to lose the mullet. You know, it's just, we'll see if he does that for race day. I'm teasing. He looks fine. You know, it's a fashionable thing. That's right.
What I think Dave should do is take like the top 3 Elio impersonations and let our viewers vote on the best.
Very good idea.
Because we've got one from last week, and I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, who was that did such a great job?
But Hinchcliffe was really a close second to whoever we had last week. So I think he should do top 3 and then let our Facebook friends vote on the best.
That sounds good. Here's some of the folks chiming in tonight. Let's see, Glenn saying, this is a miracle, I guess. My favorite cookies is Oreo and Chips Ahoy and vitamin D milk. So Glenn's actually thinking about cookies and milk as opposed to the story tonight. And Daniel Morris, I think maybe a tongue-in-cheek comment. Sounds like a little bit of unnecessary censorship in the story where everybody is talking about wanting to be Tom Brady. I mean, look, it's Indianapolis. You didn't expect Dave to allow those guys to actually say the guy's name, right?
No, it took me a minute to figure out what we were doing because I thought the first person really did say a bad word. And then to figure out that it was just Tom Brady that we censored the entire time is super funny.
Yeah. Kim says milk and cookies, one of my favorite slots, which is great.
Yeah.
And Brian saying, you know, as soon as that camera turned off, Dave had some cookies. I mean, look, Dave said in the interview himself he was on a diet. I don't believe that for a minute, but yeah, those cookies look pretty good.
Well, and it gets people talking about their favorite cookies. So Oreo dipped in skim milk from Kim.
Yep.
Tina chocolate chip cookies are her favorite. And this one had me kind of, and I'm not a huge oatmeal fan, but I do like oatmeal chocolate chip. But this one was oatmeal scotchies, chocolate chip or snickerdoodles. So
yeah, those are
I'd
good.
take any of the 3 at this point.
So as one of the things that my wife did, as I mentioned yesterday, final radiation treatment, she brought those crumble cookies.
Yes.
To people at the hospital. Now, we dropped one off for you. I don't know if you tasted them. Have you even gotten into the whole crumble cookie phase at this point?
I haven't, but I might be in trouble now because I took a bite before I went, which is terrible to eat at 12:30.
Right.
Because especially a cookie. But I was guilty last night, so I took one bite and I'm like, oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
And then I took another bite and another and another, and I think it's half gone.
Which may be the reason that you did 11,000 steps today.
Right. I had to walk my 4 miles to work off the crumble cookie.
I'm telling you, those cookies were really good. So.
Well, I did look at the menu, and they had some interesting ones. One that looked like cereal on top.
Yeah, my wife loves, as a child, loved Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries, and so that's one of the flavors this week. They pour a little of those Captain Crunch and Crunch Berries on top. They're really tasty.
Well, and then it looked like the churro. Did she try the churro one?
I think churro was one of the flavors. I didn't get a sample on that. I'm trying to remember the chocolate that I had. I can't remember for the life of me.
The German chocolate?
No, it wasn't the German chocolate.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
See, we all like talking about cookies.
I can't remember.
Well,
look, anything chocolate is going to be good with me.
Yeah, and then I read the churro description, and it looked like it had cinnamon cream cheese frosting.
Oh, gosh.
Anything with cream cheese frosting, sign me up.
That's pretty good. All right, so the 80s are back, and it's going to get pretty steamy around central Indiana, and we've got another day of practice out at the track.
We do, another day of practice. If you go early, you might get a few sprinkles early on, but then I think they get lots of laps in tomorrow afternoon as we start to dry out and heat up. And it is going to have a summer feel for qualifying this weekend with temperatures in the upper 80s.
Wow.
Upper 80s come Saturday and Sunday.
I mean, come on, central Indiana. You got to love 80-degree temperatures. Find a pool, get outside. Great day for a walk, a hike, get some biking in, get outside. I think everybody's ready for some warmer weather for sure.
I agree.
All right, we'll get the 7-day forecast coming up with Angela tonight on 13 News at 11. Our big story, we'll be talking about the Middle East and the conflict that we continue to see with the Israelis and Palestinians. And we'll be talking about a number of other things and celebrating the Pacers that won their play-in game tonight. Again, they'll play the loser of Washington-Boston Thursday night on the road, so we'll continue to cover that. Thanks for joining us here on Facebook Live. Hope you'll join us tonight at 11 o'clock over on 13. Good night.